reporter asked Melania Trump an awkward and surprising question at a recent news appearance. As emotions increased and cameras flashed, she asked her son Barron Trump about his alleged position on LGBTQ+ rights and how it matched the traditional values of the Trump family. Renowned for her elegance, Melania took a deep breath and the audience was quiet. Everyone in the room was taken aback by the answer that came next. Melania maintained her composure and unreservedly upheld her son's right to privacy while reiterating the virtues of family, love, and respect. Reporters and spectators were in amazement by her response, which soon became the talk of the town. First Lady Melania Trump. Melania Trump became one of American history's most fascinating and complicated First Ladies. Melania's time as First Lady was unique in many respects, characterized by acclaim and criticism due to her serene manner, excellent taste, and private nature. Her ascent from a Slovenian small town to the White House represents her success and the evolving status of women in American politics. Elite model management. Melania's modeling career brought her to the world's attention before her time as First Lady. She appeared in publications like Vogue and GQ due to her work with well-known agencies like Elite Model Management in New York. Although Melania's early success as a model contributed to her high public exposure, her relationship with billionaire Donald Trump would primarily determine her future. Melania Trump married Donald Trump in 2005, and the two would conceive a son named Barron in 2006. When Donald Trump campaigned for and won the 2016 U.S. presidential election, her choice to back her husband's political career proved a turning point in her life, the election of the president. Mixture of grace and reserve. Melania assumed the position of First Lady in January 2017 with a blend of poise and tact. Melania adopted a more personal and non-political stance, unlike some of her predecessors. During her first year in office, she mostly avoided the spotlight, making her initial media appearances sparingly and cautiously. However, Melania left her imprint with programs like the Be Best campaign, which addressed problems including opioid addiction, cyberbullying, and children's well-being. She utilized her position to fight for people without a voice in politics, and her emphasis on the health and safety of children struck a chord with many. A fashion icon. One of the most apparent features of Melania Trump's time as First Lady was her sense of style. She became a fashion icon because of her tasteful sense of style, often dressed in refined, timeless ensembles for public occasions. Because Melania displayed confidence in luxury brands while retaining her style, the media praised and criticized her outfit choices. Fashion was a crucial component of her public character, as her appearances often made headlines and her attire was seen as meaningful. Faced criticism. Even though she was the First Lady, Melania endured harsh criticism throughout her husband's administration. She was often seen as a quiet person, eclipsed by the more outspoken political leaders in her immediate vicinity. Compared to other First Ladies like Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton, she was often criticized for having a weak voice on social and policy concerns. But Melania's followers valued her calm, respectful demeanor, thinking she opted for a more subtle influence. Barron's privacy. Her positions on several subjects, most notably the privacy of her son Barron, showed that she wanted to shield her family from the overwhelming media attention. Melania has often advocated for Barron's right to a normal upbringing, stating that he shouldn't be held to the same standards as his parents. By protecting Barron, she demonstrated her maternal instincts and dedication to protecting her family from the harsh realities of public life. Indelible mark on history. Melania Trump's tenure as First Lady was a unique period in American history. Renowned for her grace, prudence, and composure, Melania left a lasting legacy of nuanced paradoxes. Although she avoided overt political activity, the public admired her efforts and distinctive style. She offered a fresh viewpoint to the position as the first foreign-born First Lady in over 200 years, striking a balance between her identity and the American people's demands. Melania Trump has made a lasting impression on the history of American First Ladies with her trip from Slovenia to the White House. demonstrating her tenacity and dedication to her family. The press conference. There was a sense of excitement in the Mar-a-Lago press briefing room. Amidst the confusion of flashing cameras, Melania Trump sat elegantly behind the microphone, exuding composure. Even though she'd dealt with many reporters in the past, today seemed different. Mrs. Trump, can you comment on rumors about Barron's supposed support for LGBTQ+ rights, and how does that align with your family's values? A forceful voice said, breaking the commotion. As everyone knew, the Trumps had always had conventional views, but this inquiry went right to the heart of their personal lives. Melania's eyes sparked with something unsaid, and her calm face trembled momentarily. With the room's focus bearing down on her, she inhaled deeply. Barron, her youngest, has always been the most private member of the family. Barron's upbringing. Melania said, Barron is 18, in a calm yet firm voice. He conducts himself honorably, precisely like his father and I did while raising him. In actuality, our family is unified. The reporters leaned in, sensing an unexpected story, and Melania continued, her voice softening as she went on, her Slovenian accent lending a layer of sincerity. As parents, we teach our children the importance of respect, no matter the differences, Melania said, adding that she was not finished speaking. However, we also use our core principles to quiet them. This is love, not a paradox. Not evading, but opening a window. Even the most combative reporters were silenced by her words. It wasn't the response anyone had expected. Melania wasn't running away. Instead, she provided a glimpse into her family's world, one of love, solidarity, and personal hardship. One veteran reporter told his fellow audience member, "This isn't what I expected. She's handling this with grace." Barron, who detested the limelight but respected his mother's bravery, observed his mother with pride and uneasiness while sitting quietly in the back with two Secret Service officers. Trump's confidence. Donald Trump stood off stage, his arms crossed, his face expressionless. His eyes focused on Melania with a ferocity only she could understand. His silent message was, "You've got this." As Melania's words echoed around the room, the reporters became restless, and one bold reporter asked again, "What about the charges of hypocrisy?" The room waited to hear her answer. Donald stepped in. "Let's make one thing clear," Donald Trump said, his voice booming. "Our family's been the target of lies and smears for years." Before Melania could respond, the door to the side of the stage opened and Donald Trump strode in, his presence as commanding as ever, drawing gasps from the room. He took his place beside Melania, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. He turned to the reporter who had posed the question and said, "Barron is a young man who respects everyone but doesn't compromise his beliefs. This," he motioned to the reporters, "is just another attempt to twist the truth. As his mother said, we instilled morals and encouraged him to uphold them. Therefore, let's cease entangling a defenseless adolescent in your schemes." The calm before the storm. As the press conference ended, Melania and Donald walked off stage together, their unity unshaken. But deep down, Melania knew this was just the beginning. The atmosphere was heavy back at the Trump residence. The reporters were stunned by Donald's unexpected appearance, and Melania's eyes glistened. But she refrained from crying. Despite his bluster, this was the Donald she'd fallen in love with, a fiercely loyal protector. A mother's assurance. "Mom," Barron said in a quiet but firm voice, "why'd they have to bring me into this?" Melania sat in the living room with her hands around a warm cup of tea as Barron walked by the window, looking at these Secret Service officers scouting the property. Melania put down her tea and approached him, saying, "Because you're strong, Barron," caressing his arm. "They know you represent something they cannot control. There's a reason I've stayed out of the spotlight. However, you must not allow their remarks to harm you. You're aware of who you are." Donald walked in with his tie unfastened, an unusual display of weakness. The unexpected caller. Barron glanced at his father, his brow wrinkled, and said, "Dad, I don't care what they say about me. They're going to spin this into something bigger," he replied, "but we'll handle it as we always do. How this impacts you and Mom is important to me." Donald's voice became softer. "You're not a problem, son. I don't want to be a problem. This family's future lies with you. Never forget that." The next day, Melania's phone kept buzzing. She looked at the caller ID and froze when it said it was Ivanka. The two women had always had a friendly but aloof relationship, so this call was unusual. Ivanka's care and concern. Melania, Ivanka said calmly but forcefully, but there's something you should know. Melania's heart fell. I saw the press conference. You handled it beautifully. What do they want? They want to paint him as someone he's not, Ivanka said. But I have an idea. Let's use this moment to show them the real Barron. Let's highlight his strengths, values, and love for family. Melania paused. She'd always kept Barron out of the spotlight. Do you think it was appropriate to make that adjustment now? When Melania eventually responded, I'll talk to Donald, thank you, Ivanka, she hung up with a renewed sense of resolve. Barron is a young guy with a golden heart and unbreakable honesty. If the world wanted to see him, they would know the truth. Taking a stand. That night, Melania, Donald, and Barron sat down to discuss Ivanka's plan. Barron initially resisted. He said, absolutely, I don't want to be a pawn in their games. You won't be, Melania confidently told him. This is about showing the world who you truly are, not what they think you are. Donald grinned. Barron paused for a long while before giving in. Son, this isn't about politics. It's about standing up for yourself and your family. I speak for myself. No scripts, no coaching, just me. Okay, he murmured gently, but on one condition. Melania's eyes glowed with delight. That's exactly what we want. Barron making his appearance. As the family got ready for the next phase, there was a lot of emotion in the air. Barron and the Trump family would undergo a sea change if he chose to speak in public. The Trump family started their official channels the next day. It was short, yet powerful. Barron Trump will address the public to share his perspective amidst recent controversies. This will be a private and respectful engagement focused on truth and values. The news spread like wildfire. Reporters made wild guesses regarding Barron's following words. Supporters rallied behind the youthful Trump, while some questioned the move. He was ready. Barron prepared throughout the day. He demanded that there be no pre-written remarks or teleprompters. Melania and Donald watched from the sidelines, both anxious and pleased. If I'm going to do this, he told Melania, it has to come from me. Melania felt Donald's hand on her shoulder. He's more like you than you think, he said. Barron was straightening his outfit in front of a mirror as nighttime drew near. Even though he was just 18, he looked like the man his parents had brought him up to be. A quiet, "Are you ready?" Melania inquired. Barron's blue eyes, brimming with resolve, met hers. Yes, Mom, I'm ready. Rejecting all rumors. There were several people in the press room. Reporters whispered, cameras flashed, and millions watched online. Standing tall and commanding attention, Barron took the platform. He started. His voice was firm but emotional as he said, I want to thank you all for being here. I never wanted to be in the spotlight, but recent events have made it necessary for me to speak. I respect everyone's right to live as they choose, but I also believe in the values my family has taught me, values rooted in faith, tradition, and love. The air was still. Barron went on. The rumors about me are false. I have never supported anything that goes against my family's beliefs, but that doesn't mean I don't care about people who think differently. Respect doesn't mean agreement, it means kindness. Hashtag Barron Speaks and hashtag Trump Family Values. Melania watched from backstage as Barron talked, tears running down her cheeks. Donald stood beside her, his customary bluster giving way to subdued pride. The room erupted in cheers when Barron was done. Although it wasn't unanimous, it was sincere. Barron's remarks sparked an instantaneous and decisive response. Hashtags like Barron Speaks and Trump Family Values became viral on social media. Even some opponents acknowledged that his genuineness struck them, while supporters applauded his maturity and elegance. The family gathered in the living room back at the house. Melania gave Barron a firm embrace. This is just the beginning. You were perfect, she said in a low voice. Donald gave his youngster a back pat. Barron grinned, but it was clear that he was tired. You've got more guts than most people in Washington, kid, he said. I'm glad it's over, Melania gave a headshake. The family's relationship seemed more potent than ever as they sat together. It's not over, Barron. This is just the beginning. But today you showed the world who you are, and that's enough. Although they knew the path ahead would not be simple, they were prepared to tackle it together. The Trump family awakened to a barrage of headlines the morning after Barron's address. While most commended Barron's bravery, others tried to analyze every word he uttered. Dissecting every word. Melania's countenance was serene yet serious as she drank her coffee and combed through the headlines. Donald brought his phone into the room. He said, "They're still talking about it," as he showed her the popular hashtags. Melania agreed, saying, "But Barron handled it better than most adults could." Later that day, the family met privately with their public relations and legal teams. "He did, but we need to protect him now more than ever." Melania took the lead in the conversation. "We won't let anyone twist Barron's words or use him for their agendas," she declares with determination. After sitting silently, Barron said, "Our family's united and will remain so." Donald grinned with evident pride, saying, "I won't let anyone drag you or Mom into this mess, but I'm okay with the attention if it helps people understand who we are." The family's togetherness served as their shield, an unbreakable link in the face of hardship. That's the Trump spirit, son. We fight back with truth. The aftermath. The public well received Barron's speech, but the young man personally battled the fallout. His social media accounts were inundated with hate comments, and some of his prestigious schoolmates even muttered behind his back. One night, feeling overpowered, Barron withdrew to his room. When Melania discovered him, he sat on his bed looking at his phone. "Barron," she whispered as she sat next to him. He glanced up irritatedly and said, "You don't have to face this alone. Mom, it's just, I don't understand why people hate us so much. I didn't say anything wrong." Showed the world your heart. Melania encircled him with an arm. People sometimes fear what they don't understand, and sometimes they just want someone to blame. But you did something brave. You showed the world your heart, which is more powerful than any insult. Barron sighed as her remarks began to sink in. He answered, "I'll try to ignore them." "That's all we can do," Melania answered. "Stay true to ourselves." Donald startled his son that evening by joining Barron in his room, which was out of character for him. He took a seat in the chair across from Barron and leaned back. The promise. Barron listened as Donald said, "Son, I know it feels like the world is against us sometimes, but you must understand people attack what they cannot control. You're young and strong and you have values. That scares them." "I just want to have a normal life, Dad," he said. Donald gave a little grin. "Normal isn't in the cards for us, but you have something better, character. And no matter what anyone says, you've got your family behind you, always." Barron felt at ease for the first time in days. His father's remarks were a pledge rather than just counsel. The Globe proceeded to analyze Barron's speech as the days went by. Out of all the commotion, a voice came out of nowhere. During his appearance on a well-known talk program, Marcus Reed, a well-known LGBTQ+ advocate, shocked many with his interpretation of Barron's comments. The advocate's support. "Barron Trump is a young man navigating immense pressure," Marcus said. The video went viral and sparked a flood of support for Barron from unexpected places. "Even though I may disagree with his family views, I respect the sincerity in his words. He spoke with kindness, which we can all learn from." Melania's eyes were watering as she watched the episode. She showed him the film and said, "Do you see this, Barron?" Barron's gaze was inscrutable as he stared in silence. "Why would someone like him defend me?" said the man. Melania said, "Because truth transcends differences, and you spoke your truth." A fan letter. Barron's bravery sparked a discourse that exceeded the family's expectations. They seemed to be constructing bridges for the first time, rather than only protecting themselves. A delivery showed up at the Trump home one evening. Barron was the recipient, but there was no return address. The Secret Service was suspicious and inspected it before releasing it. A handwritten note from a young guy called Ethan was inside. "Dear Barron," it said at first, "I've never been a fan of your family, but after hearing your speech, I felt compelled to write. Your words gave me hope. Thank you for being brave." Barron reread the letter, his emotions rolling. "You reminded me that we can disagree without hate." Melania grinned broadly as he presented it to her. A small private event. The letter turned out to be a turning moment for Barron. "You see, Barron, your words matter. You touch lives." He started seeing his public suffering as a chance to motivate others rather than a burden. The Trump family threw a modest private party to demonstrate their principles and reaffirm solidarity. Invitations to Mar-a-Lago were extended to close friends, allies, and a few impartial journalists. The evening's subject was straightforward: family. Photographs of the Trumps taken over the years, moments that emphasized their love and tenacity, were shown to guests. Despite his reservations, Melania persuaded Barron to go. Her words, "This isn't about politics." As the evening went on, Donald entered the stage to deliver a short statement saying, "It's about showing who we are as people." Standing for your belief. "Our family has faced challenges, but love holds us together," he said. The crowd cheered as the speaker said, "Tonight, I want to thank my son Barron for reminding us that standing for your beliefs doesn't mean standing against others." Barron felt a warmth he hadn't anticipated. He didn't say much when it was his time to talk. The event was a huge success and changed the public's opinion of the Trumps. "I just want to thank my family and everyone here for believing in me. That means everything." Politics was no longer critical. Instead, the power of a united family was. The family's newly discovered tranquility was tested the day after the occurrence. An angry piece by a well-known writer accused the Trumps of influencing public opinion with Barron's remarks. Even if the accusations were unfounded, they sparked a new debate. Not a symbol or a statement. Melania's countenance was inscrutable as she read the piece silently, but Donald was furious. He raged. "This is what they do." Barron, who had been browsing social media, sighed heavily and said, "They can't handle the truth, so they twist it." Melania gently touched his shoulder and said, "Why can't they just let it go? I'm not trying to be a symbol or a statement. I just wanted to be honest." To plan, the family called an urgent meeting. "Honesty makes people uncomfortable, Barron, but that doesn't mean it's wrong." Following a lengthy debate, they agreed to let Barron react, not verbally but physically. They would concentrate on their philanthropic endeavors and demonstrate their principles to the world by actions rather than arguments. Barron nodded, resolved to cut through the cacophony. Youth empowerment and family values. Then he said, "Let them talk. We'll show them who you are." The Trumps started several projects in the following weeks, emphasizing family values and young empowerment. Barron played a silent but significant role, going to schools and talking to youth about compassion and resiliency. One visit in particular caught our attention. Liam, a young man Barron met, had experienced bullying because of his views. According to Liam, "Hearing you speak gave me the courage to stand up for myself," he remarked weakly. Barron's friendly manner mitigated the towering height as he crouched at Liam's level. He said, "You're stronger than you think," to the youngster. "Never let anyone make you feel small for being true to yourself." A side never seen. A journalist filmed the scene and it went viral very fast. People from various walks of life found great resonance in the unique peek into Barron's true heart. Public perception started to change as a result of the family's efforts. The Trumps showed a side of themselves that few had seen before. Even their detractors acknowledged. A discreet meal at Mar-a-Lago was attended by the Trump family months after the scandal subsided. Despite the challenging times, they came out stronger and closer than before. Donald held out a glass. His words were, "To the family." The burden on Barron's shoulders suddenly eased as he grinned and said, "Stand together no matter what." He said, "To be true to ourselves." Melania's heart was whole as she glanced around the table, and they clinked glasses. They had persevered through the storm and emerged stronger than before. The world no longer saw them as a political family, but as one united by love, tenacity, and unwavering trust. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon